your life doesn't have meaning without aspiration or an aim. Okay, so you need a hierarchy of values. There's got to be something at the top. It's got to be something important. If you don't have that, your life doesn't have any meaning. So let's say, well, the first question might be, do you need to aspire to something? And the answer is, well, yes, because you have to do something. If you just sit there, you'll die. You can't just sit there. You have to go act out in the world. Okay, so act towards what? Well, that's whatever your aspiration is. You have to have an aim. Okay, well, what should the aim be? Well, it should be something worth doing, let's say. Why do something that you don't feel is worth doing? What do you think's worth doing? Well, if you watch other people and you judge when they're doing something worthwhile, you usually judge them positively if you see that they're taking responsibility, at least for themselves. What, do you want to be completely useless so other people have to take care of you? That's pretty pathetic. And maybe you could get your act together so you're taking care of yourself and your family. And maybe you could even do better than that and take care of yourself and your family and your community. Well, good for you. That's responsibility, and that's an aim. Well, here's one of the things that's cool about that, is that your life doesn't have meaning without aspiration or an aim. Okay, so you need a hierarchy of values. There's got to be something at the top. It's got to be something important. If you don't have that, your life doesn't have any meaning. So if you criticize the hierarchy, or even the idea of hierarchy, you destroy the idea of aspiration, and then people have nothing. Well, that's not helpful. People are built for a struggle and they're built for a weight, and you want to take on a heavy burden voluntarily. See if you can put yourself together. See what you can do out in the world while you're waiting to die. It's an all-in game. It better be worthwhile. And so there's a tight relationship between responsibility and aspiration and hierarchy. And when you criticize those things, you get rid of the aspiration. And if you think we can do without hierarchical structures, then you don't know what you're talking about, because you can't organize your perception without a hierarchical structure, and you can't organize people in terms of pursuing a valuable goal. You can't even say that a goal is valuable without producing a hierarchy. So there's no getting rid of hierarchies. Now then you can say, well, yeah, but the hierarchy is based on power and it's corrupt. I don't think that's true in the West, although hierarchies can become corrupt. Okay, so let's say you do buy that though. The hierarchy is patriarchal and it's corrupt. Well, then let's say you're a young man and you're ambitious. Well, then obviously you're corrupt too, because your ambition is to take your place in the corrupt hierarchy. And so because the hierarchies aren't tyrannical and because they're based on competence, your ambition, if you have any sense, is actually to become competent. But if you confuse that with a power drive, and there's tremendous confusion about that, then you confuse young men, because they think if they're ambitious and they want to get ahead, let's say, they want to be useful and competent, that they're somehow buying into the tyranny. So you actually punish the young men for their virtues. And I actually think that that's part and parcel of this critical process, because I think that one of the things that drives the people who are theorizing about the tyrannical patriarchy is that they absolutely detest competence. And it's a deep war. So it's very annoying. It's very hard on young men, but it's also hard on young women. So it's hard on young women because they end up with partners who are confused. They're confused about the relationship between masculine and feminine. They're confused about what role they should play out in the world. Apparently, it seems to be fine if a woman wants to play a patriarchal role. That seems to be perfectly fine ethically. I don't understand how that can be the case if the patriarchy itself is corrupt. It's corrupt, but it's okay if women occupy the positions of power. It's like, okay, how does that make sense? Well, none of this makes sense. Part of the reason it doesn't make sense is because it isn't designed to make sense. It's designed to be destructive. And it's so interesting to see the response to people after my talks, say, or as a consequence of watching my lectures. I have people come up to me every night, because I talk to about 150 people a night after the talks. And so many of them are happy because they've put their lives on firm foundation, because they found a little bit of encouragement in my lectures, saying, look, it's good for you to go take your place in the world. Have some ambition, have a vision, have a goal, have a strategy. Try to be a good person, not because it's your duty precisely, because that's the proper way to live. We're in danger of undermining all of that, and it's not good for people.